Fast forward, any come our channel, so we a breaking news. Eddie Emma. Now, Shanaswam say, we ye bought a MPP, a year, a swear yet. Namano say, omu number of people, omu our parliament, a so ebeti. Say, omu entimi anyu omuntu tuya, ningina ni say, a year, omu parliamentary seat, a yok or pandano, and a court, etimi ashe, say, yen sign enkoto abano efofro na se yekoto abano fofro dia na se ekamia kwaye se MP a wote akunya no so no wode nakunya no ebeto ho ansa na yakoto abano na hye no so am se eye 2024 election no yenyina yihu se eye Honorable Matthew Nyindam ene Daniel Nsala wakwa enya mencheme ho ase we se me na mafa we se me na mawini ema chese abano MPP ni no enya ye no eye Matthew Nyindam no asem no ekọ court me no ka say court etimi really say tisia no yemfa eye seat ni ento ho na yensai enkoto abano efofro na eye Mr. Honorable Matthew utimi egada eye 53.20% vote Samson Enna Honorable Daniel and so it me a 46.60% voter. Unuya Emma a year MPP Nino, it me a far a year Apunyano etnaso. But at this point in time, court as she say, often a Punyano and two, not yanko to Abano Fufro. Yemon run 7 yen yeko any deba. Aha, a year GH Politics Avenue.
Desist from holding himself as Member of Parliament for the constituency. Now, on January 30, 2025, the NDC parliamentary candidate in the 2024 parliamentary election, Daniel Wakpai, filed a petition at the High Court challenging the declaration of the NPP's Matthew Nyindam as Member of Parliament for Kpandai constituency. Now, according to him, the results of the parliamentary elections as declared by the Electoral Commission was invalid due to some irregularities and inconsistencies contained in some of the pink sheets. In the suit filed at the High Court, the former Kpandai lawmaker stated that Forms 8A and 39 for 41 out of a total of 152 polling stations contained some inconsistencies and irregularities. Again, he says the December 7th election was inconsistent with Regulation 39 of the Public Elections Regulations 2020, as well as the principles laid down by Regulations 39, thereby affecting the outcome of the election. Let's stay on this subject. There's been a lot of numbers I've been mentioning. Mawena will take us through a breakdown of these numbers. Mawena, what are we looking at?
Right, and so Kameni, what it is that we're looking at is an interesting constituency by just a general perception of wanting to understand what it is that happens there, to be specific. And so in 2024, that's the December general elections, which was held some months ago, we saw Matthew Nyindam emerge victorious in this election. But it wasn't without this man, Daniel Nsala Wakpa, who then was the incumbent, raising objections as to inconsistencies in or with a number of the polling stations and the pink sheets thereof. And so he subsequently decided to take this matter up and take it to the court. We know that subsequently, Mr. Nyindam has been sworn in. He's, off the top of my head, a 3-term or a 2-term member of parliament, if I'm not mistaken. We'll get those facts just in a short bit, because we'll seek to look at the history of the Kpandai constituency as well, because since 2012 thereabout, or since 96, the NDC had enjoyed some supremacy in that particular constituency up until 2012, when this man, Mr. Nyindam, came into the picture and had stayed true to winning up until 2020, when Daniel Nsala Wakpa upstaged him, and then he made that return in the 2024 elections. That victory, which has become the subject of litigation, and now we're getting the verdict that the High Court has ordered for a rerun of the elections. And we'll hear from some of the lawyers as well of Mr. Nyindam shortly. But I just want to take us to the election results from 2020 as well, because that is where Mr. Nyindam lost after he had been on a 2 consecutive win run, and he was upstaged by Mr. Nsala, who beat him in that 2020 elections. But subsequently, if we want to do a history or a walk down history or memory lane in terms of what the constituency has looked like, we'll see that in 2016, Mr. Nyindam emerged victorious,
right.
and he beat a long-serving member of parliament for that constituency in the person of Lekpalemo Kojo Teria, who had won the seat since 96 up until 2012 when he lost for the first time. And so if we go to 2012, we'll see again that this is where Mr. Nyindam first off came up victorious. But if we go down from 2012 to 2008, you realize that Lekpalemo Teria had been winning the elections up until 2012, where Mr. Nyindam beat him to it. And since then, he won until 2020, where he was beaten by Daniel Nsala. He made the return and won the elections in 2024. And now we're getting the word. And so it's looked like it's a bit of a swing region because he has enjoyed a lot of NDC superiority up until 2012. Mr. Nyindam won in 2012. He came back to win 2016 as well. He lost in 2020. He came back to win again in 2024. But the court says that victory was not clean and they'll have to go back to it again.
And now we have 30 days for a by-election.
Absolutely.
I see. Let's connect now with our correspondent, Christopher Amuakon, who's been following proceedings today. Christopher, talk to us about how the decision was arrived at in court. Christopher, you'd have to unmute. We cannot hear you. Oh, we still can't hear Christopher. But Mawena, you've been, telling us how this has been happening, over the time, because we've seen how the NPP came in, took over Kpandai twice. The third attempt, now we are hearing that it's not going to happen. There's going to be a by-election in 30 days. I want us to take a listen to counsels after the ruling today, and then we'll reconnect with Christopher.
Absolutely.
I want to put on record that, yes, we respect what the judge has said. We vehemently disagree with him. I know that I won the election with a difference of 3,734. That is a clear victory. And if you look at the pink sheets, it's on record that they've admitted that every single pink sheet was given to all the political parties. I have my 152 pink sheets. They have their 152 pink sheets. And if you put the results together, we have won the elections. For some reasons, powers that may be, they decided to come to court and knowing very well that maybe they'll be able to use the state's powers to overturn certain things. But I think that we are in a country that is governed by laws. And that is why the courts are arranged from a lower level to a higher level. So that when a ruling is given at a lower level and you disagree, you move to the next level, which we have done this time. We have completely filed our stay of execution. The lawyer has done that. He's filed the appeal to as well. And we think that God being so good, the next is...
Well, we've just heard from the
incumbent,
MP, the incumbent, who thinks that there'll be an appeal.
Yes, he's been asked not to hold himself out as a member of parliament following this decision. But obviously, we're to expect him challenging the court's decision as well. Let's
connect again with Christopher Amako. Christopher, how did the court say it arrived at that decision it took only hours ago?
Yeah, so Kemini, like I was saying, this case was filed on the 30th of January this year, and it has traveled till today. Now, in the opinion of the court, the petitioner was challenging the results for some 41 out of 152 polling stations over some electoral irregularities. But in the process of the proceedings before, the lawyer for the petitioner had indicated that the 41 are not the only polling stations that these irregularities took place, but these were the ones that the irregularities were massive, and so he was praying the court to, as it were, ensure that there was a rerun as stated by the petitioner. So today, in giving judgment, the court indicated that all the 152 polling stations should be rerun, and so in effect, what the court said was that there should be a rerun of the parliamentary elections in the Kpandai constituency. And Kemini, I must say that it was joy for the NDC in court today, but for the MPP, even though they have since filed an appeal challenging the outcome of the earlier decision of the High Court, they are saying that they respect the judgment, but that does not mean that whatever that has been said, they have taken it in good faith. And so they are going to the appeals court to appeal the judgment. So that is exactly what they have done. The lawyer has since filed the motion, and they are hoping that the court will take it up for proceedings to begin. In fact, the lawyers for the petitioner have since been served with the motion, but according to the lawyers of the first respondent, that is Matthew Nyindam, the lawyers for the petitioner threw the court summons away, also in effect indicates that he has been served.
Well, I mean, essentially, it won't change anything once the service has been done, right? But I do want to find out from you, post the court ruling, obviously, I expect that the NDC side will be happy about the outcome. What did they tell you?
In fact, I must say they were not only happy, but they were overjoyed over the ruling of the court, because for them, the court has maintained their position that the 2024 parliamentary election in the Kpandai constituency was born out of some irregularities and inconsistencies. And so they are happy, and cheerfully they left the court premises. But for the MP, they are saying that, in fact, even before coming to court, they knew that the ruling would not go their favor because of some social media posts that they saw the NDC in the Kpandai constituency post on social media. So they believed that they were not going to win the case today. In fact, let me be emphatic on what the lawyer for the first respondent, Sylvester Isan, said, that he had already prepared his appeal motion before even coming to court, because he foresaw this coming. And so once the judgment did not go their way, he immediately went to file the motion. That was why the filing of the motion was very quick for him. And so for the MPP, they believe that they call this judgment a reset judgment, because they believe that the court did not speak in their favor, and so the court did not do the right thing. But it is what it is. The court has spoken. They have appealed, and we'll see how the appeal will go. Indeed,
Christopher, thank you very much for joining us with those details. We can now take a listen to the counsels for both sides, Mawena, because, you know, Christopher has referred to them a lot. We've already heard from the MP who's now been removed from office. Let's hear from the counsels of both sides.
Every district election collation center, there are certain rights that are preserved for the candidates. Now, when the polling station closes, you move to the district collation center, and that's the parliamentary collation center, and certain things can be done there, including asking for a recount of even the polling station. Now, when you say that there are disturbances at the collation center, the law is clear that you either adjourn it to the next day, or you can adjourn it even for a week. But you don't relocate the district or redesignate the collation center without notice to the participating candidates. And then you, when you were brought to court, decide that you are going to support one side against the other, making allegations that the petitioner was involved in busing hooligans to the place to come and destroy property, and also to engage in acts which were inconsistent to the election laws. When the district election officer was put in the box, he could not even point one, even his own videos, to show that indeed the petitioner had done any of those things. So clearly, our point was very simple. The failure to notify the petitioner of the relocation and redesignation of the collation center meant that clearly there was no way he could have participated in the collation and to be able to exercise his rights, which included serious irregularities which we brought to the court. So in the fairness of the entire thing, including the ample evidence that there was complete destruction of the biometric verification system and all that, the only alternative would be to rerun the election. And so we are very happy that the court has ordered that within 30 days, the election should be rerun. The power and the sovereignty lies with the people. It is for them to decide who their MP is. And you cannot be a beneficiary of such an incident and call yourself an MP. That is out of the question. So the alleged MP, who has now been clearly exposed as not being the MP elect, was a beneficiary of a rigged system by the district election officer. And I will appeal to the petitioner and the NDC election committee to ensure that that district election officer does not return back to that position, because he can cause mayhem in this country if he's allowed to do so.
We believe that the petition was frivolous, but the court has decided otherwise. So we respect the decision of the court, but we strongly disagree with the judgment, and we have already shown our agreement by filing a competent notice of appeal, and we've added a motion for stay of execution. As a lawyer, if you have picked certain information that judgment will be compromised, you prepare. So you come for the judgment with a notice of appeal in your packet.
Well, we've just heard from lawyers of both the petitioner and the respondent, and you could tell what we just saw is, Moena, is the lawyer for Nyindam. You could see that he was, left and right, we could see members of the NPP around him, and there was Haruna Mohammed as well, the Deputy General Secretary for the NPP. We saw same with the Nikpako Samoa as well, when we see him flanked by regional executives of the NDC. Now, there's more to the story.
Absolutely, because we heard from Christopher that the lawyers of Mr. Nyindam have already filed processes seeking to appeal these results. Let's take all of that to the Deputy Director of Elections of the NDC, who was present at the courts today, Rashid Tanko Computer. Alhaj, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Sweet victory, you would say, to start off the preparations for the Christmas festivities for the NDC. Can you hear us, please? Well, it does appear there's a bit of a challenge in being able to connect. But we're seeking to put it to him, amongst many other things, Kamini, the latest, that they are seeking to challenge. And, I mean, without a doubt, that is expected. They will seek to challenge this. They will seek to injunct the Electoral Commission as well from proceeding with the possible rerun of the parliamentary elections. I mean, if you've covered the news long enough, you can be able to predict some of these happenings in the news cycle. They will seek to do that. That will be left to the decision of the court as to whether or not there is merit or no merit in that application they will put before the court. And I mean, depending on how that goes, we will know whether or not we'll be headed to Kpandai for a by-election
in 30 days or not.
In 30 days or not. And so that's what it is. At this present time, the NPP has lost one more member of parliament. And in the scheme of things, a lot of people will argue that, well, this doesn't really count for much because the NDC has overwhelming majority. But it does count for something in terms of the numbers, because they started off the 9th parliament with 88 members of parliament. Unfortunately, we lost NS Yaokumi in Akwetia. That by-election, the NDC won. Bernard Bediako emerged victorious. And now a court has declared as
another seat vacant.
Another seat vacant, which could result in a rerun which we cannot sit here or stand here and make a determination for as well. But that is a cause for concern for the party as well, particularly when, at this point in time, a lot of the focus as well is on the presidential primary slated for January 31 of next year. But let's listen to Rashid Tanko Computer when he spoke to our team, Christopher Mako to be specific, after the court's decision today.
We and some who do it in course or channel, no, so I'm not so Jim or had a senator body and the Adumbi Adumiania. Only ever some about them na Yaksumo Kwanson Kosokra.